Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and you like movies, whether it be blockbusters, hidden gems, or everything in between, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the reviews of new releases and some classics. Today, let's talk about Spree. It's a dark satire that stars Keery as a driver who works for a rideshare app called Spree, but he also wants to be a social media influencer. He makes more content than he can count and he is obsessed with going viral, but he never gets a high view count. He then comes up with a new series he calls The Lesson, where he attempts to show how to go viral. And what he does is he offers his passengers poisoned water bottles and records their deaths via live streams. I'm gonna say right up front, this is not gonna be for everyone. It's a strong contender for one of the most polarizing movies of the year. It's been compared a lot to American Psycho, and that is easily the most on-point comparison. I'd call this the social media version of American Psycho. The main characters in both movies are obsessed with maintaining this image of themselves and seek the approval of certain audiences around them, and both will go to the length of flat-out killing people in order to maintain that image. The main criticism that both movies share is that the protagonist, or should I say the main person we're just following, is a straight-up murderer, and it's partially played for laughs. I almost wasn't totally sure if I was going to check this one out, to be honest. When I released my most anticipated movies of August video, I left it off because at the time I thought I was just going to skip it. But my curiosity got the better of me, especially because it was also a change of pace for Keery. I'm a fan of Stranger Things and I enjoyed his performance there, so I wanted to see how he was out of his comfort zone. And he was good. He can definitely pull off the creepy guy role well. The way he'll casually say something that seems off with his cheery smile and repeatedly push it, like he's in his car and he'll have conversations with his passengers and then he'll cut them off asking them to give his audience advice on how to be successful, and you can see they're thrown off by it because it's completely off topic. Or he won't follow his GPS and he'll reassure his passengers that he's taking a different way, or he's just grabbing another passenger even though no one said it was okay to do that. He definitely gives off the vibe that he's someone you shouldn't trust and you should be creeped out by. But the way it's structured, thanks to the writing, a case is made as to why we should at least be interested in him, and that's due to it spending the first few minutes showing him just desperately trying to be successful on social media the innocent way. There's a brief montage where it's explained he can't get any viewers and he's been trying for years, and we see these videos of him talking into the camera, and we as an audience know he's really talking to no one because of the low viewership. Before it takes such a dark turn, we're essentially tricked into liking him and feeling sorry for him, because that's something we can all relate to. We have these different projects we try and we keep pushing through, and it's disappointing to see them not work out. So for those first few minutes, we can sympathize with him, and while we by no means condone what he ends up doing, we at least understand where he's coming from. And I think that's the key when it comes to having a movie focusing on someone horrible. If you're gonna have us follow this terrible person for 90 minutes, you need to be able to build a strong foundation as to what makes them interesting so that we just don't shut off the movie halfway through or something. I'm not saying people are suddenly going to get on board with this for that reasoning. I'm reiterating he is a terrible person at the end of the day, and this is supposed to be our protagonist, but this does make a solid foundation of giving him a personality and making him feel somewhat unique. He crosses paths with a number of characters, with his father, played by David Arquette, being one of the main people most prominently in his life, though most of them have relatively small roles. The other main character we focus on is a stand-up comedian played by Sasheer Zamata. Keery is amazed by her as she has a large following, especially on social media, and while the movie isn't completely about him following her around, they do cross paths a number of times. We see a few scenes from her perspective as well. And she ends up being the character we root for more than anyone. She gives easily the best performance here. This is the first time I've seen her in anything. I know she was on SNL, but I don't really watch SNL anymore, and I know she had a YouTube channel, but it looks like it's no longer up. I couldn't find it. But regarding that, that's what makes her such a natural fit for this. We see her interacting with her followers, and I don't know if she was allowed to improvise, but she captured that energy of the social media influencer so perfectly, and she was very funny while doing it. I thought she was by far the best part about this movie. And the way it's presented is similar to movies like Searching from 2018 as well as Host from this year. It's all through the lens of live streams, social media videos, and computer screens. And I like the style. I fully admit I have a bias towards found footage style movies because I think it adds an extra layer of realism there. Things like the low quality footage and the screens glitching out, the overlapping dialogue, anything soundtrack related coming directly from a radio or a streaming service. We feel like we're right there with these characters. And the way this is presented is, since this is mostly made up of live streams, we get at the bottom comments from the people watching the videos. And unfortunately, I'm slightly mixed on this approach. On one hand, it gives the film plenty of rewatch value because you can go back and try catching every single comment made because it captures the rapid fire nature of comments and live streams. There's like a ton of them that go by within seconds, and you'll see people arguing with each other, commenting on what's going on. That same energy's there. Though what I found slightly hard to believe was the fact that everyone who dies in this movie dies on camera, and the live stream chats up, and the majority of the reactions seem to be one of two things: either people saying it's fake or cheering it on. There are a few times you get a glimpse of someone saying like, "Oh my god, that's terrible," or something of that nature, but the fact that everyone is either essentially on board with this or think it's one long con on a public platform, it does eventually get addressed in some meaningful way, but it is maintained to an extent throughout the entire movie, which I guess is part of the point. This is framed as a satire of social media culture. So the point is that people are so obsessed with social media that they're impressed with something like people getting killed on camera, and they treat it as their entertainment, and they're so detached from reality. I just think though that if you're gonna present this in the style of a found footage movie that's supposed to be presented as real, I think it's asking you to suspend your disbelief a little too much. When something's satirical, it requires going over the top, and in this case, it definitely goes over the top at times. There were moments where it was ridiculous and flat out funny, including some really dark moments played for laughs. It's just that framing a satire around this realistic style of storytelling, when you build this whole case of making your lead character somewhat sympathetic, I feel like the two styles clash a bit. A movie I can best compare this to besides American Psycho is Man Bites Dog from 1992. That movie is a mockumentary centered around a film crew who follow a serial killer, and it's a wild time. But it's in the same vein as this. It's a dark comedy which critiques the obsession with true crime culture, centered around a guy who's killing people on screen, and it's another polarizing film. But what I think makes it more effective than this is the fact that Man Bites Dog establishes its over-the-top and frankly unsettling tone from the very beginning. Plus it keeps things contained to focusing on a smaller group of characters, so you can buy into a lot of these horrible things happening on screen a little easier. Not that you won't be totally unsettled by it, it's another movie that's not for everyone, but it's slightly more believable. This movie's like 1 minute it's serious, then the next it's ridiculous, and everyone in the live stream's going along with it. In the end, I think it mostly worked. I just think it really stretches the suspension of disbelief, and I can understand it not working for everyone. Overall, this was good. Though I will reiterate, it's certainly not an easy film to get through. The fact that the main character isn't exactly a good person, and the fact it shifts back and forth between trying to feel real and then trying to feel over the top, will certainly throw people off. But it is an interesting critique of social media culture, and one that can be funny at times, and it's boosted by two solid performances from Keery and Sasheer Zamata. I'm recommending it, but I'd say mainly if you're into horror movies, especially unconventional horror movies. Spree gets a 7 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Spree, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the performances? Did you enjoy the satire? And what's your favorite social media platform to use? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time.